Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the official Cards YouTube channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be opening up my brand new trial decks for Resolution Breakers. Resolution Breakers trial deck Shingen and Resolution Breakers trial deck Alexandre. So, these decks will be available to purchase over on the GameCrafters website. Anybody interested, the links will be down below in the description. I'm just going to be cracking them open, seeing what's inside, showing you the cards and giving you a brief look through of how the decks will be looking. Okay, so without further ado, we'll be opening up the Shingen trial deck first. So first up, the deck box itself, the cover card for the deck, which is Lord of Unrelenting Flame Shingen. You've got the Resolution Breakers game logo, the Game Crafters logo for advertising. On the side of the box, it just gives you a little breakdown of the amount of cards you'll find in the deck. It's a 50 card pre-constructed deck with 17 different card types in total. On the back, you'll find the deck contents telling you all the cards you'll get in this deck, the quantity, the rarities and such. Plus, my little Instagram plug there at the bottom. If you want to give me a follow, you can also find that down in the description box below. Alright, let's open up the box. Now, bear in mind, I have looked through these decks prior to recording this video in order to rearrange the deck order, as generally you will get the decks in a random order whenever you purchase these decks. Okay, so then we have a super rare holo copy of Lord of Unrelenting Flame Shingen. I would just like to point out for this video, this happened previously with getting my cards printed, testing out the new Game Crafters foil cards. The amount of drifting on them is a little disappointing. It tends to be a recurring issue. As you can see on one side of the card, there seems to be no foil at all. I did change my layout over and over to make sure, even with drifting, that everything should stay in the center. But it's just a big issue, which I sincerely hope does get sorted within the near future with the Game Crafter. Anyways, moving on, we also get a common non-holo variant of Shingen 2. Then we've got a super rare holo copy of Twin Pike Strategist Yukimura, along with a common variant also, just like with Shingen. 2 copies of a rare Ignition Warlord Mizuki, 2 copies of a rare Flaming Barrel Psyker, 4 copies of a rare Adept Swordsman Mifune, 4 copies of a rare Frontline Assault Kurosaki, 4 copies of a common Sharphead Shin, 3 copies of a common Inexorable Gallant Benkei, which personally, this card has my favorite design in this deck. 3 copies of a common Unwavering Blade Hayate, 2 copies of a common Harbinger Kushu, then 4 copies of a common Piercing Array Yumi, 4 copies of a common Captivating Geisha Sayori, 4 copies of a common Flagholder Shuri, and 4 copies of a common Good Fortune Katsuki. A super rare holo copy of Land of a Thousand Blades, plus a common variant, 3 copies of a common Collateral Flame, then finally a single copy of a common equivalent exchange. If you know, you know. Okay, so now moving on to the second deck, Trial Deck 2 Alexandre. Just like with the first deck, you've got the cover card, which is Dragon Rider Alexandre, the Resolution Breakers game logo, the Game Crafters logo, brief information on the side of the box, then on the back, the full contents of what you expect to find in there. Alright, let's crack this open and take a look at the cards. Again, I've already rearranged the deck's order just to make this easier to go through. You'll find the deck in a random order. So first up, we've got a super rare holo copy of Dragon Rider Alexandre along with its common variant. A super rare copy of Dual Shield Marcus plus a common variant just like with Alexandre. Then we have 2 copies of a rare Shield of Sanctum Garrison, 2 copies of a rare Death Champion Adriel, 4 copies of a rare Impenetrable Shield Will, 4 copies of a rare Persevering Knight Gareth, 4 copies of a common Mighty Guard Guy. Then we have 3 copies of a common Defender of the Gate Garud, 3 copies of a common Shield Spear Basil, 2 copies of a common Grail Bestower Atticus, which again personally would be my favorite design of this deck set, 4 copies of a common Formidable Ballista Dedericus, 4 copies of a common Elvish Angel Windfearer, 4 copies of a common Arms Baron Bagamul, 4 copies of a common Apprentice Mage James, and now we have a super rare holo copy of Knight of the Rune Table along with its common variant, 3 copies of a common Gaia Quake, and then lastly, just like with the Shingen trial deck, we have a single common copy of Equivalent Exchange. Okay, so that is a brief look into what you can find in both Resolution Breakers trial decks 1 and 2, Shingen and Alexandre. you'll notice that it's literally just cards. You won't find a rulebook. Mostly that's just because, for one, the cost. With the new holos, it raises the price a fair bit on the Game Crafter, so I wanted to keep the decks as cheap and accessible as I feasibly could. Though, if and when you decide to purchase a deck, you'll be given a free to download official rulebook of how to play Resolution Breakers for you to keep. And as mentioned at the start of the video, both of these decks are now available to purchase. You can find them on the Game Crafter's official website, where I get all of my cards printed, or simply use the link in the description down below. I will be doing a video on each deck with a more in-depth look into each card, what they each do, and learning the playstyles of both trial decks. But that's it. That's both Resolution Breakers trial decks 1 and 2, Shingen and Alexandre. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. What was your favorite art or design from either set? Which deck do you prefer and which deck are you looking forward to using? And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, peace.